Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to read part 1 of a story called Boomtown. In this story, we're going to look at the events. This is also called the sequence, how things unfold in the story. And then we'll also work on summarizing those events or sequence of events in the story. Okay, so as I go into presentation mode, you're going to watch this video, and then when we're done, you're going to the assignment on slide 12 and answer a couple of questions. Boomtown. Today's vocabulary: sidewalks, paths by the side of the street or roads. Grumbled, to complain in a low voice. Wailed, to make a long, sad cry. Traders, people who buy and sell things as a business. Blossomed, something that grew or developed. And lonesome, to not have often visited by people or to feel deserted. Boomtown. It took us 21 days on the stagecoach to get to California. When we got there, I thought we'd live with Pa in the goldfields. A whole tent city was built up, but Ma shook her head. The goldfields are no place for children. We'll get a cabin and live in town. What town? A stage stop? A pump house? A few log cabins? That was all. It was so wide and lonesome out west, even my shadow ran off. Ma found a cabin big enough for all of us. Baby Betsy, brothers Billy, Joe, Ted, and me, Amanda. Pa came in from the goldfields every Saturday night singing. So I got me a mule and some mining tools, a shovel and a pick and a pan. But I work all day without no pay. I guess I'm a foolish man. First, Ma made him take a bath in a tin tub set up under the stars. Then Pa sang songs and told stories he heard from the miners, stories about men finding big nuggets and striking it rich. But poor Pa, he had no luck at all. Still, every morning he left for the goldfields full of hope. The days were long and lonely. The fields spread out as far as forever. Nights, me and Ma and brothers and baby Betsy would sit out and wait for a shooting star to sail across the sky. Once in a while, a crow flew by. That's all the excitement there was. My brothers worked up some furrows. We planted corn and potatoes and beans. Then they ran around climbing trees, skinning their knees. But after all the water was fetched and the wash was done, after the soap was made and the fire laid, after the beds were fixed and the floor was swept clean, I sat outside our cabin door with baby Betsy, so bored I thought I'd die. Also, I hankered for some pie. I love to bake pie. Hankered means kind of wished for, was thinking about. I asked Ma, and she said pie would be good, but we have no pie pans and no real oven, just a wood stove. How would you bake a pie? I poked around in a big box of stuff and found an old iron skillet. I decided to make a pie crust and pick gooseberries to fill it. Gooseberries grew on the bushes near town. I picked a big pailful and went back home. I made a crust with flour, butter, a little water, and a pinch of salt, and then I rolled it out. Ma came in and said, "Looks good, Amanda. I knew you could make it, but tell me, how will you bake it?" I showed Ma the skillet. She shook her head. "I don't think it'll work, but you can try." "It'll work," I said. So far, the sequence of events in our story. Event number 1, the family arrived in California and it's settled in a cabin in town. The second thing that we know that's happened from the first couple of pages is Amanda's bored and she decides to pick gooseberries and make a pie. So I'm retelling or summarizing the story so far. Brothers Billy and Joe and Ted stood there laughing. When the wood turned to coals, I pushed my pie inside the old stove. After a while, I smelled a bad burnin'. I pulled out my pie, hard as a rock. Billy, Joe, and Ted whooped and slapped their sides. They snatched up my pie and tossed it high into the air. They ran outside and Billy whacked it hard with a stick. Pie pieces flew all over the place. My brothers bent over laughing. I was so mad I went right back in to make another, and I swore none of them would get a bite. I rolled out my crust and filled it with berries, shoved the pie into the oven, and soon took it out. Excuse me. I set the pie down to cool. I went off to do some mending. Next thing I knew, baby Betsy, just learning to walk, sat there with pie goo all over her face. Too soft. The filling ran down on Betsy, and she wailed like a coyote in the night. It took me one more try, but I got it right. That night, we ate my gooseberry pie, and it was delicious. So, our events so far. We know already that we covered event 1 and 2, that they got to California, and number 2, she decides to pick the gooseberries and make a pie. So on the previous page, Amanda burns her first pie, so her brothers toss it in the air and hit it with a stick. Event number 4, her baby sister eats part of her second pie, and it's too runny anyway. And the last event, her third attempt or her third try at baking a pie was successful, and it was delicious. When Pa came home from the Goldfields on Saturday night, there was pie for him too. "Amanda, you are the queen of the kitchen." Pa scooped me up and whirled me around. I was proud. The next week, I made an extra pie for Pa to take with him to the Goldfields. Saturday night, when he came home singing, coins jingling in his pocket, we all ran out to ask, "Did you strike gold, Pa?" "No," he said. "I sold Amanda's pie. The miners loved it. They paid me 25 cents a slice." After that, Pa took pies into the Goldfields every week, and every week he came home with coins in his pockets. Some miners walked right to our door looking for pie. They told Ma, "You should open a bakery." Ma said, "It's my girl Amanda who is the baker. If she wants to make pies, that's fine, but I have no time." Ma had a new baby on the way, and it was up to me. I figured I could sell pies to the miners and fill up our money jar, but I needed help. I rounded up my brothers and told them, "If you want to eat pie, you've got to work." They grumbled and groaned, but they knew I meant business. So Billy built me a shelf Joe made me a sign, Amanda's fine pies, and Ted picked berries and sour apples. So far, these are the events that we covered in the first couple slides. We left off with her third attempt, and it was successful, and the pie was delicious. So now, here's your assignment for today. The assignment directions. You will add 2 sequence of events that happened on slide 9 of our reading to continue this summary for today. You're going to write or type in complete sentences with punctuation, which means capital letters at the beginning and a period at the end. And here's what you're going to fill out. Event number 6 and number 7. And here's a hint for you. The hint is in dark, bold print. What did Dad do and what did the brothers do? All right. Good luck, and that's all for now.